Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, it's all about the Champions League, looking back at the midweek fixtures, Bayern Munich moving on, and of course, Arsenal taking care of business. Now, joining me this evening to review the Champions League and also preview the big matches coming up in the EPL over the weekend. Big one is coming, Arsenal versus Man City. We have returned into the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Yes, indeed, Christoph. It was all about Champions League action midweek. And pretty much some of our predictions came to the fore. We both predicted Barcelona to win, but still exit the Champions League. So said, so done. Bayern taking care of business versus Real Madrid. Arsenal holding on for a draw, but still managing to go through. And of course, PSG continuing their walk potentially towards another Champions League trophy by pretty much dismantling Liverpool over the course of two legs. But Christoph, what are your thoughts? What did you see in the midweek fixture? And at this point, who is looking the team to beat in that competition?
I mean, no surprises in the Champions League. I expected Atletico to go through, and I said it. If they got anything from the first leg, then they would have gone through because Barca, I cannot recall when I have ever, in probably 15 or more years, seen them go through. If they don't win big the first leg, and the second leg is away from home, they go through once that second leg is at the Camp Nou. You're probably not beating them. But once they play away from home for the second leg, you can almost guarantee they're going to drop out.
Yeah, so said, so done. It was going down to 10 men again. That high line, Christoph, really causing their downfall, it seems.
Yeah,
But
like I
such are
said, the high line, they look extremely weak on the counter attack, and that's how Atletico beat them. I mean, yeah, Atletico scored a free kick, but ultimately it was that high line that killed them in both legs.
definitely the case, definitely the case. And going down to 10 men did not help the cause at all. But for sure, the goal of the round, I mean, the game of the round, Christoph, the game of the round has to be Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. That game had everything in it from the first minute. Naya giving the ball away and Real Madrid taking full advantage, putting it in the back of the net. And at that point, they were leveled up as it relates to the tie. But as the game wore on, it seemed as if Madrid almost shot themselves in the foot by going down to 10 men, and Bayern Munich pounced on that opportunity and went away winners. But a very entertaining game for the neutrals. That was the game I was locked into, Christoph. It wasn't the boring draw over there at Arsenal, but the goal fest, the excitement that took place over there in Munich. What were your thoughts on that game, Christoph? What did the better team go through?
I don't know. Um, it was definitely a really, really good match for the
Neutrals?
neutrals, and for anybody who likes football in general, unless those teams are your rival clubs or whatever. Very good watch. However, watching that game, I must say I think Real Madrid could have won that game if not for the petulance of the players on the field from their team.
Mm.
And it's probably a similar situation with Barcelona, in my opinion. Lamine Yamal sitting on the ball in the corner flag as if the game was won. And it's that kind of petulance and arrogance that kind of costs Madrid. Uh, just if they had just got on and just played the game, they probably would have made it through.
Possibly, I mean, it's a bit of indiscipline, you could say, creeping into the team. As you
Right.
mentioned,
In this
players
very
bigger
indisciplined.
than the club type vibe you get from the likes of a Vinicius, the likes of a Mbappe, to be honest
in
with
in
you.
in 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 this particular game, in the first leg, in the first leg, it was really Vinicius and maybe Mbappe. But in this particular game, it was Vinicius, Mbappe, Arda
Bellingham.
Kamavinga, Bellingham.
Yeah, but it tends to rub off. That sort of personality and mentality tends to rub off on the other players. But to me, the genesis of it is Mbappe and Vinicius. I would say even more so Vinicius. I mean, I'm not sure if there's any coach in world football that would want to take up a team with those two players in it and expect any sort of discipline to permeate throughout the team, to be honest with you. Uh yeah, I mean, they're good players, no doubt, talented players, but in terms of creating a team around these players, I'm not so sure. I mean, since Mbappe left PSG, Christoph, PSG has gone on to win and lift the Champions League, and they're now in another semi-final. So one would think or possibly point to the fact that Mbappe left and the team got better.
2 plus 2 equals 4.
Well, interesting times ahead for sure. Interesting times ahead. But to be honest with you, it seems as if it's a different Mbappe when he plays for France versus when he plays for Real Madrid, Christoph.
I think for France, the indiscipline cat doesn't stand. I think that's the difference. The
I
indiscipline does
see,
not
I
stand.
see.
If he shows indiscipline, more than likely he will get dropped.
You could be quite right. It could be the leadership at the helm, yeah, as you mentioned. Deschamps, a renowned coach, has been coaching the French team for many a year, and his word is gospel pretty much. He has the final say on footballing decisions. His decision making is beyond reproach, not questioned. So, as you rightfully say, it's about the leadership and the management. I mean, I don't think Arbeloa he'll see out the season, but obviously, Madrid will certainly be in search of a quality coach, a coach who can manage these big personalities. And as I mentioned, it's not just Mbappe and Vinicius alone, it seems. The likes of a Jude Bellingham seem to be coming for the fore in terms of big egos as well, Christoph. So it's quite a lot to deal with over there at Madrid. But Madrid is out. Bayern Munich is in. And of course, over there at Liverpool, it is PSG who progressed. Liverpool did put on a better showing uh, when compared to the first leg, but still not good enough to get past this PSG team. And it was that man Dembele, the current Ballon d'Or winner, who did the damage in the second leg, Christoph. What can we say about that tie as it relates to PSG progressing and now Liverpool out?
I mean, not much really. PSG, coming into the game in a very commanding position, didn't really have to do much. So it was all on Liverpool to kind of create and score goals and put pressure on PSG to kind of do something. So I don't think it was, particular spectacular by PSG. They just put themselves in a commanded position to kind of relax and just play the second leg. Obviously, it could have all gone wrong. But I've heard people criticizing Slack's decision to, was it bench Salah or something
Right, right.
like that?
Yeah, Salah didn't start that game. He came on as a sub when I think it was Ekitiki who went down injured. Uh, but I mean, for me, I don't see much criticism. The fact of the matter is, Christoph, we've watched Salah over the years, and it's quite obvious this season that he has lost a yard of pace. It's now quite obvious. So he's on the way down. So it makes sense you play the future, so to speak. And I didn't mind the starting 11, minus Salah. I thought Liverpool played well, but just could not find the goal. When you're beaten by a good team, Christoph, you're just beaten by a good team. And Liverpool was beaten by a good PSG team. PSG was just too good over the course of the two legs. When you're beaten by a good team, you just have to hats off to them and wish them all the best in the future. And I think that was the case in this game. Liverpool tried as they did. They just could not breach this PSG defense over the course of two legs. So over the course of 180 minutes, Liverpool could not score a goal. And in the same process, they conceded five, and it could have easily been more. So they just came up against a superior opponent and lost. So hats off to PSG. Based on what I'm seeing, Christoph, my money now has to be on PSG to repeat as champions, to be honest with you. They are going to take some stopping. They are just a well-balanced, well-coached team at this point in time. I mean, even Bayern Munich, even though Bayern Munich is scoring a lot of goals, we have seen their defensive deficiency. And I think left in the competition now, PSG is probably the most balanced team in the competition. Can score, and score 3-4-5, but also can eke out a 1-1 draw. Sorry, a 1-0 draw or a 0-0 draw. You know, they can keep it, they can batten down the hatches if needs be, as they did versus Liverpool. You know, Liverpool did apply some pressure in the second half. Potentially, wasn't awarded that penalty shot, but I thought it was a 50-50 decision. Could have gone either way. A little soft, one must say. So I'm not even concerned about the referee. But that could have probably, given them a bit of hope. But at the end of the day, I thought the better team progress. The better team in both legs progress. So that sets up a mouth-watering semi-final versus Bayern Munich. And of course, in the other side of the draw, Christoph, Arsenal went into this one 1-0 leaders and did enough to progress. Their game versus Sporting Lisbon ending in a stalemate, a 0-0 draw. That game, Christoph, I did not watch, I must admit. Did you see that game as an
Yeah,
Arsenal fan, or were you glued to the Real Madrid game? I was glued to the Real Madrid game, so
I I
did
wa
not see a minute of that game.
I watch all the games.
So what were your thoughts on that 0-0 draw?
Um, Again, it's one of those games. Arsenal came into this game as the leading. They didn't need to do a draw would mean they progressed.
Right?
Uh, Sporting Lisbon did not come with enough to win the game. They did not
Okay.
come to attack. It's almost as if they played the game as if they were kind of leading. You know, like they came into this game on the advantage. I don't know if they expected because Arsenal was playing at home that Arsenal would kind of take it to them and then they could counter attack and potentially score. Is what it felt like to me. When they realized that was not going to happen, is when they kind of put their foot on the gas. But obviously, Arsenal still being one of the strongest defensive teams in Europe had enough to hold out and claim a draw. I wasn't impressed by Arsenal by any means, but I also was not impressed by Sporting. It's one of those things where we saw Arsenal lose to Bournemouth last weekend. We saw them lose to Man City and Southampton a couple of weeks ago. It's almost as if Sporting did not do any homework and said, let's just go and try this instead of looking how they look. Look how
Right.
Arsenal lost their most recent games, and let us see if we could employ something like that to kind of get the result. So
Quite possible. Maybe they didn't have the personnel to get that job done. But I mean, kudos to Arsenal. They, as you mentioned, they did do enough to get into the semi-final. Some fans may say that at the end of the day, that is the key thing which matters, the fact that you progress to the next round. So for sure, Arsenal is in the next round. Their matchup is versus Atletico Madrid. So, Christoph, early prediction. Who makes it to the final? Early prediction.
Atletico and Bayern.
Atletico and Bayern. So you're not backing just to be clear, you're not backing your team, Arsenal, to progress.
I don't think they will progress over two legs over Atletico unless they can find another gear at the moment. Right now,
Wow.
they're in first, second gear. They need to find one or two more gears that they can go up to.
So what,
Arsenal, what are they missing?
yeah, speaking of gears, you're saying they need to find a gear. What will it take to find that gear? What are they missing? What's Arsenal missing right now? Because I mean,
Two
last
two
season we
things.
spoke
Two
about,
things.
yeah, last season we spoke about a number nine. They went
Right.
out, they grabbed the number nine. So what is it that's missing? The defense is still there.
But yeah, I've said it from the beginning of the season. They got the number nine. They do not feed the number nine.
So it's the style of play then that's causing their
It,
downfall at the moment.
it is not necessarily the style of play. It is the penetrative passing is lacking. Last season there was a lot more, and I
So is
kind
it
of
the
be,
midfield combo then at this point? Is it the midfield combo? Is it a
I
case where a Rice Zubimendi partnership doesn't necessarily work? Maybe he could try playing two tens instead of the current combination of technically two defensive mids with
I
in the
I
form of Rice and Zubimendi.
I think that would be a great idea. Unfortunately, he doesn't have two tens to play.
Yeah, what
Odegaard
about
does not.
Odegaard and Eze? Can't Odegaard and
Ode,
Eze play together?
Odegaard does not look like a 10 anymore. The 10
He
has been
doesn't, but
co-
and he
the
is a
10
10. I
has
mean,
been
over
the
the
10
last couple of years,
the 10 has
that's
been
where he
coached
has
out.
played. That's where he has.
The 10 has been coached out of him. Odegaard is no longer a 10.
Well, but even so, I mean, I'm not sure if Arteta is going to experiment at this stage of the season. He probably should because obviously, as you said, if they can't find that next gear, then it's highly likely that poor results will follow as well. I mean, Arsenal
I
is yet to win a game in April over the last 3, 4 seasons. A statistic I mentioned in the last podcast, and so said, so done. They're still fighting to get a W in the month of August. So it seems as if once the business end of the season rolls around, something get lost in translation in this Arteta coach team.
the last, not 6 seasons, but the last 4 seasons. All right. Last 3 seasons, Arsenal have come second. Ever since the very first season, we got to halfway through the season. And ever since that first, second place finish, halfway before the season was done, I said Arsenal need a number 9. And then every summer since then, I've said Arsenal need a number
Right?
9.
No,
Arsenal
you
need
have
a
a
number
nine,
9.
Christoph, but no, you have a nine.
Arsenal now have a number 9, and
Correct.
they went out and arguably bought the best 9 in the previous season.
Right. At the
Right,
available nine at the time.
that 9 needs a particular type of service. Right. So far this season, he has not been supplied with any of that.
Okay.
This season, Gyökeres has 19 goals in our
So it's the
competitions.
supply to the striker that's missing then, Christoph.
The supply to the striker is missing, but that's not the only thing. The supply to the striker is a major thing. They if they were to start supplying the striker, they would probably be winning the last 3 games that they lost. They would have probably won. Um, Not to say that there aren't other things that need fixing, but the
Right.
last 3 games, if they were able to supply Gyökeres with the chances that he needs, he wants, they would have won the last 3 games that they lost.
Well,
That's not the only
this
problem.
yeah,
That's not the
I
only
mean, we're
problem.
not gonna not gonna turn it into a Arsenal dissection. I mean, we can do that at the end of the season, depending on results and so on and so forth.
You said could a new midfield combination
Yeah, I'm just
yeah,
thinking outside
I
the
believe
box
so.
in terms of trying something
I
new.
believe so. I think a midfield of Eze, Norgard, and Odegaard could change the way Arsenal have been playing and
No, but
yield better
Arteta is not
results.
gonna really drop Rice. I think Rice is probably the first name on the team sheet. So to me, it's Rice and two others.
If yes, it
To
can be
me,
Rice and two
to
others,
me, the best option is Zubimendi seem not to be a very progressive passer of the football. I'm seeing statistics where he has one of the highest percentage of back passes. So to
which is
me, rest Zubimendi, play a Rice, a Odegaard, maybe a Eze.
you see that statistic
Just
is so
saying, I'm
wild.
just, you know.
That statistics for Zubimendi is so wild to me, and it tells me that it's Arteta that has coached him to do that because Zubimendi, associated last season, had the highest percentage of progressive passes in the top 5 leagues.
Well, maybe the pressure is higher, but I mean, we moved Oaker stuff. We're not gonna dwell any longer on the Arsenal situation. Fact of the matter is, Arsenal is still in the semi-final of the Champions League, and they still lead the league and can potentially do the double. That being said, Man City themselves, who they face on the weekend, could potentially do the domestic treble. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that Man City could win the EPL, win the FA Cup, and also win the Carling Cup. No one is talking about that. That's why we're here. We are beating the press with these statistics and with these narratives, Christoph. So That brings us to the very important match coming up on the weekend. Is almost, you could say, it's the EPL final. It could be dubbed the EPL final. Man City versus Arsenal, Christoph. We've said enough thus far about Arsenal. What can we say about Man City? What does Man City need to do to beat this Arsenal outfit and potentially go on to lift the title? Is it over for Arsenal, Christoph, if Arsenal was to lose this game?
If Arsenal were to lose this game and then go on to win every remaining game, and City won this game and went on to win every remaining game, they would be tied on points and it would be goal
Right, so it would
difference.
goal difference, right? And the goal difference is not too dissimilar, might I add. I mean, there's probably a goal difference of maybe plus or minus 3 or 4 goals,
The problem for Arsenal is if that happened, you are currently not scoring a lot of goals, so
right?
your goal difference would shrink.
And potentially the psychological damage it would do to the players, management,
But
the fans, etc.
as I said last week and the week before, if Arsenal do not win this game, it's title gone, in my opinion.
So you're
The
saying this is a
like you
must-win game for Arsenal?
this is a must win game
Is
for
it a
Arsenal.
must-win or a don't-lose game?
It's definitely a don't lose game. They could draw this game and go on and win every remaining game, and then
Right, right.
they would be clear cut winners.
Because to
But
me, I'm thinking Arteta may take that approach. Rather than go out and try to slay City, it's almost like he would put up a
I
wall
here's
and
the
play for a draw. And if the
I
odd goal comes along, you take it.
I don't believe in playing for a draw. When you play for a draw, you invite pressure and you put yourself under more pressure than was needed. Go play for the win. And if you get a draw, fine.
Right? But what do you think the approach will be?
I
Not necessarily your personal opinion, but having now seen Arteta over what now, 4 or 5 years, what do you think his approach will be? And not
unless I,
necessarily your approach, but his approach.
unless Arteta has been saving up a secret weapon for the last couple of weeks to employ in this game, I think he will take the same approach that he's been taking the last couple of weeks, where
Mm,
they're going to play overly conservative and cautious. Man
right.
City are going to pounce on that and potentially get a goal or two and win. I think it will be the same as with the Carling Cup. Again, the Carling Cup final was an easy win for Arsenal, but Mikel Arteta he refused to make the changes, or rather, he made the changes after the game was already lost, in my
Right.
opinion. Man City will allow the Arsenal centre backs to hold on to the ball, hold on to possession because they aren't great passers, and then they'll go man for man with the rest of the team, and
Right.
then Arsenal
So
has nobody to play
they'll
to.
pretty much employ a similar pressing tactic then. Allow the goalkeeper with the ball and
Right,
then man to man with everybody else
right, and a
and
number of
force
teams
the
have been doing
goalkeeper to make a decision. But
right.
I
So
mean,
either
Raya should be
Raya.
in goal this time around though, Christoph. So will Raya make a big difference in terms of that statistics or that
Um,
approach?
Definitely,
Since Raya on paper
Raya
is a better
is
passer, distributor, etc. than
Raya is a better goalkeeper than keeper, shot stopper,
right,
whatever. He's at the Golden Glove for what, the last 3 seasons in a row.
right.
This right now is shaping up to be 4 seasons in a
Well, I'm
row.
not even talking about his goalkeeping skills. I'm more talking
Right.
about his
He
distribution.
he definitely has way better distribution, both short and long. The problem
Right.
though, short, he'll be fine. The problem with the long distribution is who are you going to play to as a target who can hold up the play and wait until everybody else
And
catches up.
then the big number 9 can't do that. Go Kieres.
All season have you seen Victor Gyökeres holding up the play? That is
Well,
not
I'm
his
not
game.
sure.
That is
No,
not
but
his
I
game.
don't see balls of that nature being played into him. Arsenal isn't a long ball playing team, quote and
Uh,
unquote.
you
So,
clearly have not. Arsenal is not a long ball team, but Arsenal has employed the long ball when necessary this season. So you haven't been watching Arsenal play
but
football.
wasn't it necessary in the Carling Cup, and that was never done?
But the Carling Cup, it was not David Raya and goal. It was Kepa.
So you're
Kepa.
saying it will be. Are you saying if Man City comes with the same tactic, then Arsenal will be playing more long balls then?
Yes,
More
definitely.
accurate long balls
Definitely.
as because you have a better goalkeeper who distributes better.
Yes.
So in terms
Arsenal
of your
did
starting 11 then
in
for
that
Arsenal,
if you go back to the Carling Cup final, they
right?
did play the long balls for Arsenal. They played them forward to Kai Havertz, but for whatever reason, Kai Havertz was not holding anything up.
So
They
your
did not
starting
win
11 for
it.
this game, Christoph. Who is your starting 11? if you were picking the Arsenal team?
If I was picking this Arsenal team, I would go with the same backline that played against Sporting. So Mascara, Saliba, Gabriel, and Hincapié. Personally, I would change the midfield to, if Odegaard is fit, Odegaard, Norgard, Eze. Uh,
Norgard, no Rice.
you you save the energy for the second half.
Wow, that well, okay. Carry on, and out your front three.
Front three would be Gyökeres, Trossard, and either. Honestly, I would start Max Doma.
Oh man, okay. Oh wow, it's I mean, when you're starting them, there are some big calls there. I mean, the lack of a Rice, I don't think Arteta will go that route any at all, to be honest. And bringing
I
in
mean,
Norgard for a game of this magnitude,
I don't think
I don't see it
Arteta
happening.
would. I don't think Arteta would do it. Arteta is going to
Yeah, I
go
don't
with.
think he'll go that road, but I can appreciate who
He is
you
going
would have
to
chosen.
he's going to continue with with Rice, Ubamendi. Norgard playing both Norgard and Odegaard would solve the problem that they faced when they played Man City in the Carling Cup, and the same as with Bournemouth. You now have two options who can drop deep and play the ball, control the ball, receive the ball under pressure, turn and find proper passes. Uh, Odegaard, all of this season, has been very good in controlling the games. It's those forward passes that have been a problem for him. So you
Yeah,
put
but
Eze
I
in front
mean,
of him, who is going to play more direct, and you also have Norgard beside him, who is very good at playing line breaking passes and will play the ball long.
right. But in that case, if that's the tactic, then I wouldn't start Trossard. I would be starting a speed merchant like a Martinelli for those
I
long balls over the top,
I
or as you said,
I
those line breaking passes.
I would play Martinelli if I felt like he would give me something in the first half, and I'm not. He's definitely very good coming off the bench, and that's where his best performances have been this season. So I'm still going to have my line breaking passers in the second half.
Mm.
Second half, I bring on Martinelli to run against tired defenses the 65th minute, and then I am playing everything in behind to him.
Okay, I see. Interesting tactic there. Interesting tactic. But with the table now set, Christoph, with those tactics being expounded upon, what's your predicted scoreline? Can
I think
Arsenal leave
can
here with a
if
victory?
if Arsenal employ my tactics, they win 2-0. Easy. They
But
win
if
2
they
nil easy.
employ Arteta's
They're,
tactics,
they're going to employ Arteta's tactics and lose 2-4 nil.
so you're saying 2
I,
to 4
I,
nil. So it could be
I
2-0, 3-0, 4-0.
that yeah, somewhere there,
Wow,
somewhere
wow,
there.
wow. That's a big
I,
call.
I, Arsenal are still the same proper defensive unit that they've been for the last couple of seasons. The
Right,
problem for
right.
them right now is that the confidence is low. Confidence is
Yeah,
gone.
none of their forward players are even on farm, to be honest.
It's not that the
Especially up
forward.
front.
It's
They're
not that the
out of
forward.
farm and
They're not.
confidence is low.
They're not out of form, in my opinion. The problem is nobody is making the runs forward because nobody is passing the ball behind the defense. If nobody's playing the ball beyond the defense, behind the defender, there's nothing to run. So everybody looks like they're not doing anything.
Well, it seems as if it's a chicken and egg situation. Is it that the run should come first or the pass should come first?
You are playing with these guys for the last 9,
Playing and
11,
training.
12 months and training with them. Are you telling me that there's no understanding between you and basic
Mm,
common sense when you're playing that? I receive this ball in midfield, all right, I am going to make this run. Either
right,
they're going to play the ball, play me on and play the ball to me, and I can go on. Or that run draws a defender and then somebody else can go and take that
right.
space and you make that pass instead.
Or you make the run and there is actually an attempted pass. It might be cut out
Right,
by the defense, but the attempt is there to get you in.
right. And that's
And
the
that will
problem for
encourage
Arsenal.
you to make
There
more
is,
runs because you
right.
see that a ball was trying to reach you. But you're making the runs, you're saying, and not even attempt to play the ball.
Right,
Yeah,
which is why when you go back to the beginning of the season, Victor Eucharist was making maybe 10, 15 runs like that every single game, and they were not making any passes to him. Now he has reduced those runs. He'll make maybe one or two a game.
mm,
But At the beginning of the season, he was making 10, 15 runs like that a game, and nobody would pass the ball behind the defense to him.
So limited confidence in the Gunners' ability to beat City at this point then, Christoph.
No confidence in them to win this game.
No confidence. So,
Not using the tactics they've been employing. No
got you.
confidence.
No confidence. Wow. Well, I must concur with you. My money has to be on Man City as well. This one is being played at the Etihad. Man City, to me, is the more confident of the two teams. Man City also has that psychological advantage, having beaten Arsenal in the Carling Cup and lifted that first trophy of the season as well. And of course, Man City are also motivated because they know if they can get a victory here, they take one step closer to the cup and also in the process peg Arsenal back. It might not necessarily be a done deal, but definitely this would have been a massive step towards lifting that EPL and potentially, as I mentioned earlier, doing the domestic double. But Christoph, we have to move. We have to move on because there's another big match brewing. This time it's Manchester United versus Chelsea. How are you seeing that one, Christoph? Man City versus Chelsea. Can Man City continue their great run under Carrick by bouncing back with a victory?
Um, I think Man United can win this game again. I said like Rosina has not looked um, particularly promising when playing against any big teams.
Okay.
Under Maresca played what 20 something games, 21 games in charge or something like that, and they had conceded like 21 goals in that period. Chelsea under Rossini are currently 4 away from conceding 21 goals. So
So you're saying Chelsea has become leakier under
yeah,
Rossignol.
yep,
So at this point you would say Chelsea has taken a backward step since the hiring of Rossignol then is the conclusion one could draw.
yeah. Poor, poor, poor,
Wow.
poor.
Wow. Okay, so I mean Carrick.
I thought, even at the outset, when I heard it, I was shocked. I did not believe it. I thought
But you're
hiring
saying the
Maresca
numbers
was
don't lie
poor.
then.
Right, poor.
Wow, 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 wow.
Poor
I mean,
decision
of
by
course, this
Chelsea.
game is being played at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea are the home team in this one. You're
It
saying that
it
doesn't
it
factor
make
into the
it
equation?
it it, it makes no difference.
Wow, wow. That's a bold call there, Christoph. I mean, Manchester United were hot, but they seemingly have cooled off, over the last game week. I mean, they did lose in their last game. I mean, granted, they did went down to 10 men, but they did pick up a L versus Leeds, who were battling for dear life to stay in the league. But I'm not sure the motivation. I'm not sure where Chelsea is at this point in time, to be honest, or even Manchester United. Neither team is really pulling up any trees, in all honesty. I mean, Manchester United currently sits in a Champions League position. They would want to maintain that. And of course, Chelsea is on the outside looking in. Motivation should be high among the two teams. These are two big name teams. This match is definitely being hyped up by the media, and a lot of eyes will be on this game as well. So, players, managers, staff, fans should be well motivated for this game. But what's your final prediction, Christoph, for this one? That being said,
United to win 3-1.
United to win 3-1. Wow, that is a big scoreline. Wow. I'm gonna go with a draw in this one, Christoph, to be honest with you. I am gonna go with a scoring draw. So for me, it's gonna be a 1-1 draw. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 1. I mean, even though both teams look the way they look, as you oftentimes remind me, 70% of hope teams tend to win or not lose, I should say. So they're either getting a win or getting a draw. That's a big percentage to overcome. I mean, Leeds did it in the last game. Granted, they were helped by the referee in some respect or I should say they were helped by Martinez because I thought the refereeing decision was the correct one. I mean, what are you doing holding on to the hair of your opponent, or is that
Yeah,
defending or
straight
playing
red. I hear
football?
people complain, oh, he got a slap to the face. No, it was completely unintentional. Martinez grabbed and pulled Calvert-Lewin's here intentionally.
Yeah,
Straight
for
red.
sure.
If
It's
I
much like when Suarez was in the EPL and he bite he bit Ivanovic ears, I believe it was. I mean, in this day and age, that would have been a straight win as well. But back then, there was no VAR, there was no video assistant referee, so he got away with the incident. But obviously, subsequent replays show clearly he tried to bite the ears of Ivanovic. So it would be one of those situations we see here with Martinez being involved, but correct decision by the referee. So Leeds did get the away win last game versus Man U. Can Man U bounce back? They will be looking to bounce back. Chelsea at home, they should be showing some pride. So for me, Christoph, I'm calling it down the middle. I'm gonna call it a 1-1 draw, Christoph. 1-1 draw. But a number of other games, Christoph, are taking place. Obviously, we are not gonna have the time to go through all of them. But any quick final thoughts as it relates to this weekend of EPL action coming up? We have Brentford versus Fulham, Leeds versus Wolves. Newcastle takes on Bournemouth, Tottenham, relegation candidate Tottenham faces Brighton. So De Zerbi plays against his former team there. And we also have Aston Villa versus Sunderland, Everton, Merseyside Derby as well. We even had the time to go through that one. Forest versus Burnley, and then of course the big one on Sunday. That's Man City versus Arsenal, and then the week wraps up on Monday, Christoph, with Crystal Palace versus West Ham. But a quick thought, Christoph. I mean, a quick thought on the Merseyside derby. It's Everton at home versus Liverpool. Who are you expecting to win in that one? For me, I'll just give you my quick prediction. I'm expecting an Everton win. Everton to win 2-1.
So you don't think this is a derby match and farm will go out the window?
It is a derby match. Farm will go out the window, but I think Everton has the momentum. Liverpool, no. I don't trust Liverpool in this derby any at all. So for me, it's Everton to win 2-1. What's your quick word on it?
Uh if tell Slat to move Salah at centre forward and play somebody else out on the wing, and I think Liverpool can win that game.
Mm. Possible, possible, possible. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll definitely watch and see. It should be a very interesting game, though, for sure. But I'm expecting Everton to win. I think Liverpool will be let down by the exit from the Champions League, and I don't think this team is what Klopp had sometimes described as mentality monsters. I don't see that in this team, and of course the team has also picked up a number of injuries. Probably the most informed attacker is now out for the season. Eketike picked up an Achilles injury. So not only is he out for Liverpool, he may very well miss the World Cup with France as well. So that's a big blow not only to Liverpool, but also to the French national team. But of course, France is blessed with an abundance of riches. So it's quite possibly he would not even have made the starting 11, Christoph. That's the amount of attacking
I
riches
mean,
France now have
unlikely
at their disposal.
he would have made the starting 11 with Dembele, Mbappe, and Olise, but he would have
Yeah, good
definitely have
depth,
been
good
a
quality depth for
he
sure.
would have
Definitely.
definitely been good to be as an option coming off the bench.
Definitely. I concur fully. I concur fully. But that's all the time we have, Christoph. The time came, the time went. Viewers, subscribers, thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Christoph, thank you again for coming on board and sharing your thoughts and your opinions. Viewers, subscribers, please remember to continue to support the podcast by sharing, leaving a like, and of course, leaving your comments in the comment section. Tell us, who is your prediction? Who will win the big clash? Man City versus Arsenal. Who will win? Chelsea versus Manchester United. And of course, the Merseyside derby is also on this weekend. Everton takes on Liverpool. Give us your score prediction. So lots of big matches coming up over the weekend. Certainly, we will be entertained. But thanks again for tuning in. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.